All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our what's the date today? June 15th, downtown download. Lieutenant Bill Offelt here today. We'll be talking about a couple things. One thing I added for today, I'll go through our agenda, but I added a follow-up portion because there were some questions that were generated from our last download in May. So I want to make sure I answer some of those. So we'll do some follow-up from last month. A little bit of an update on our substation, update on the parking project we've been working on, some crime data for downtown, a little bit of educational piece on our loud noise ordinance. We've been having a lot of conversation generated from our last meeting about amplified sound and our loud noise ordinances. So we'll talk about that a little bit, and then we'll give time for open discussion. I'll remind everybody that at these meetings in the commission chambers, open discussion will give you the magic speaking block that is passed around all the time. Make sure you hold that close to your face so we can hear you. We're going to limit questions and conversation to 2.5 minutes per person, just so that everybody understands. So with that, we'll move on. Follow up from last meeting, I talked about panhandling and aggressive panhandling a little bit, and we brought up terms like simple assault and aggravated assault. And these are all different terminologies, different violations that can occur, and I didn't really get much into what can happen if somebody does these things. And so for panhandling, as you remember, somebody coming up and asking someone for something else, whether that be money or a cigarette or whatever it might be, within the downtown area is a violation, and that would be a $50 citation. So it's a cite and release if somebody is found panhandling in our downtown area. Aggressive panhandling being in the downtown area or anywhere in the city. Aggressive panhandling is when someone puts someone in fear and then panhandles, basically saying, I'm going to block your way on the sidewalk, I'm going to yell angrily at you, I'm going to take an aggressive posture and ask you for money or tell you to give me money. That's aggressive panhandling. That would be a $500 citation. You have to appear in court on that, no matter what. The first one, the $50 citation, you can just pay and go about your day. You pay a city court and you're done. With aggressive panhandling, you have to see a judge. Simple assault is a B misdemeanor offense, and basically what that is that you've done something to someone else that causes them pain. A punch in the face that might cause bruising, pain, but no damage. A push where someone falls and they're injured, and they feel pain from that fall. A grab where someone feels pain. That would be a simple assault. Aggravated assault is something where someone experiences serious bodily injury, an airway is obstructed by choking, or loss of consciousness. So those were the two terms that we were dealing with last week when we looked at some of the assaults that were happening in the downtown area. And I just wanted to be a little bit clear on what those actually, get a little bit deeper into what those actually mean. I had some questions about that. So just thought we'd put that up there as a little bit of a follow-up. For our downtown substation, last meeting we said it was going to be July of 2022. We've now bumped that up to, we've been told it's been bumped up to August of 2022. As we know, construction, especially in the times we have with supply chain issues and all those things, has been taking a little bit longer. We were hoping this would be done by July, that we could maybe roll it out and use it for street fair, but that's not going to happen, it appears. August of 2022 is when this will hopefully be done. Just some reminders about our downtown substation. It's not going to be staffed 24/7. It's not going to have any records or administrative personnel. This is a substation that will be used mainly for our officers to do reports, maybe do some interviews. We might run specific events out of this substation and to use gear or to store gear for our officers that work the downtown area to more easily have access to, like bikes and helmets for riding bikes and things like that. So that's coming in August. We're excited to see that complete, and we're really excited about the location. It'll allow us to do everything we need to do right here in the downtown area. So looking forward to the August finish date on that. Parking project, this is something we've been talking about for the last 3 months. A reminder, this is cab stands, dedicated passenger loading areas. What we were looking to do at the beginning of this was to make it more easy or more readily available areas for our ride share to come and pick up pedestrians in the downtown area. What we were experiencing at night, especially at bar close, was clusters of people in front of bars that had closed, In those clutches of people, we were having sometimes assaults, a lot of times arguments, and many times we were seeing traffic backed up with rideshare and other people trying to pick up patrons leaving the bar, and they weren't able to do it. They'd have to drive around the block many times. And so we wanted to establish areas where people could walk to, where rideshare and cabs would know that there were going to be people that needed to be picked up. And we did that by working with both Uber and Lyft. They provided heat maps. We put these areas in close proximity to areas where they were doing the majority of their pickups anyway. So this went through, I've talked about it many times here. I'm not going to get any more detail into it about that. This is an overhead map of where those areas will be spread out through the downtown. We went through our second reading this last Monday with the commission, and that was passed. And so we will be having these areas. What we're waiting for now, again, with supply chain issues, are signs that we can put up, giving people the rules and letting them know where they can park, where the cabs can be, and where they have to walk. So once we get those signs will be posted, and then the ordinance will take effect and be enforceable. What we're going to do with our city comms team is an education piece, and so we'll be doing that through social media, along with other venues, not only for the public, but also education on our officers, or for our officers, on how we would enforce this and other parking or obstructed roadway violations. So this is exciting for our downtown area, and this is also a work in progress. We're going to see how this works. We're going to monitor it. We'll be able to change it through resolution at City Commission if we need to add areas, subtract areas, add space to some of these areas. So kind of exciting change for downtown, and I'm excited to see where this will go for us. We'll get into calls for service. Again, this is just kind of a really quick down and dirty what's going on downtown. Our top 5 addresses for calls for service: 4th Avenue and Broadway, which is the intersection of 4th Avenue and Broadway. There's a lot of individuals that congregate there, a lot of people that pass through there on a daily basis. And so that is oftentimes one of our top calls for service locations. 502 MP Avenue, which is MAP Bus, is at the top of our list again. 2nd Avenue and North Broadway, which would include Broadway Square, is also one of our top calls for service locations. 625 2nd Avenue North, and then 400 Broadway, the actual address or building at 4th Avenue and Broadway. Total calls for service in our downtown area, including these top 5, are 607 for the last period. So that was about a month that we had 607 calls for service. Breaking that down a little bit more to time of day and day of week. Again, Wednesday and Sunday and Sunday, it's, as you can see by our day of week, it's midnight would be what that Sunday number is, raising that Sunday number. So it's actually Saturday night into Sunday morning. And then Wednesday is one of our top staff days, where we have quite a few officers working in the downtown area. So that's why our calls for service are going up. A lot of that is officer generated. So time of day, midnight, 1 a.m., and then again in the afternoon hours, 1 to 4 o'clock are our top times for calls for service in the downtown area. And just so we understand the area that I'm using, the geographic area that we're using, it's a west boundary of 7th Street North, a north boundary of 7th Avenue North, the Red River, and Main Avenue. So it's really our downtown area. A lot of this is Broadway and Robert Street and the surrounding avenues. 4th Avenue and Broadway, 13 of those, I combined 400 Broadway and 4th Avenue and Broadway just so we understand. 13 of those calls for service, which were 58 combined, were COPs, or officers generating activity, officers stopping out and talking to individuals, officers checking on individuals at the corner or in that front entryway. The majority of these were disturbances and intoxicated individuals or people in mental health crisis that needed medical assist. So there were actually very few actual case reports drawn from this location. A lot of these calls for service are individuals who have drank too much or are creating some type of disturbance, and officers get called there and it's resolved without anybody being arrested or any type of report being generated. Oftentimes people are being taken to detox or being taken to a medical facility for help. 502 NP Avenue North, as we talked about last time, and we have a meeting with the security company that's there next week, but there's a security company that works there, and they are calling and generating calls and saying, hey, you should come check this out. So this isn't necessarily a bad number that we have here. It's us going in there and oftentimes working with security to maybe curb some of the things that could be happening and deal with some individuals that are in there. But on all of these top calls for service, including MAP bus, it's basically the same types of calls for service. We have disturbances, we have intoxicated individuals, we have people in mental health crisis, and people that need medical assistance. So that's what our downtown resource officers and others working downtown are working with in the downtown area, and that's what a lot of the calls for service are. Very few reports generated. Many calls for service that are being resolved either through partnership with different entities in our city or just resolving and people are going their own way. So I'll describe it as that a lot of the calls for service are the same at these top call for service locations. For case reports that are generated, our top case reports, top two, would be theft and simple assault. And again, this is for the month. So we had 10 thefts reported in that specific geographic area this month. We had 11 simple assaults. Aggravated assaults were at 7. Time of day and day of week. This is Sunday morning, Saturday night, 12 to 1 a.m. You can see the top case reports generated or times that case reports are generated in our downtown area. Data on case reports. I took a big leap by putting up the big zeros on no shooting, no robberies, and we had one shooting. After I did that, I was worried about jinxing it, and I possibly did. But one shooting, one stabbing. The great thing, if there could be a great thing about either one of those, is that there were arrests made very quickly on both of those. Both are still under investigation, so I'm only able to put the suspect's name up there, who was arrested, but can't talk much more about that as they're both still under investigation. I looked at our aggravated assaults, which was the third highest number for case reports generated, all related to bars. One of those incidents was one bar fight, which involved 3 separate aggravated assaults. So it was multiple individuals fighting at a bar, and there were 3 different occurrences of aggravated assault. So all very in close proximity to our bars. Simple assaults, all but 2 were bar related. One of those was a domestic violence situation. Another one, I can't remember what the second one was that was not bar related, but the rest were all either in close proximity to a bar or within a bar, and they all were within that bar close time frame. So what we saw last week or our last meeting also, similar areas, similar places, similar times of day of week. What we're doing still, and what we'll continue to do throughout the summer, is partner with Cass County. Cass County deputies have been downtown at bar close and in that evening or early morning hour, and we'll be doing increased foot patrols spreading across more of Broadway. We'll continue to do that. The one thing that we had a high call for service location at last week, which we did not this week after we started doing that, was 300 Broadway. So if you remember correctly, last meeting, 300 Broadway was a high call for service location for simple assaults. We started focusing our enforcement across Broadway as opposed to the north end and the south end, and we did not have assaults in the 300 block of Broadway to the same extent that we did last time. So we'll continue to try to adjust to these numbers and adjust our enforcement to try to get those same results. 0 robberies. Thefts were our number 1 case report generated. Almost all bikes. This is a trend that I'm seeing. And these bikes, some were locked, some were unlocked. And so what I would like to stress on a little bit of a crime prevention note for bike theft, make sure you're locking your bike. And when you lock your bike, make sure you lock it in a place where something can't be removed, so that the bike lock can just be defeated very quickly by taking off a tire or taking off a seat. And if you're going to use a bike lock, try to get a good bike lock, one that's difficult to be cut. So we're not seeing a lot of cut locks. It appears as if maybe people are locking them in places where it's just very easy to remove something. But something that we're going to be looking at, we have a few different tactics and techniques where we can look at who might be doing this a little bit. And so something that we'll look at for this next period and report back on. Burglary, just a quick reminder, even if you're in a secure apartment building, make sure you lock your apartment door. This one burglary that we had in our downtown area was a result of someone who's in a secure building, left for a few minutes, did not lock their door, and came back and their apartment was burglarized. So we're in an area of our city where a lot of people are concentrated, a lot of people live, and where you have concentrated area with a lot of people where a lot of people live, you're always going to have people that are walking around looking to take advantage of others, and that's what happened in this situation. So that's our case. Those are our case reports. We'll be working on these different violations with added foot patrol. We're going to be meeting with some different entities over next week, especially at Map Bus, to see what we can do about calls for service possibly and try to bring those down. But it's a good thing that they're calling us and having us come there also. So something that came up in our last download meeting was noise violations and amplified sound, which caused me to look into this a little bit. And what I really realized is that at a department level and also at a public level, there's a lot of confusion as to what's enforced, what isn't enforced, what can be done, what can't be done. And that prompted me to ask our city attorney to look into this city ordinance a little bit, because there are some things that I think should be updated and could be changed. And so I'm putting that caveat on the front of this, that we're having our city attorney look at this ordinance, but there are also many things in the ordinance. Well, the ordinance is still enforceable. And so I want to do a little bit of education on what we can and cannot do according to this ordinance, and allow time for questions on this, because it's been a hot topic in the last month. And so the ordinance number that covers our noise violations is 11-0202. And it basically states, unlawful noise is prohibited. You cannot annoy, disturb, injure, or endanger comfort, repose, health, peace, or safety within city limits. You can tell by the verbiage this might have been written a while ago. The violation is determined by the volume, the intensity of the sound, the nature or noise if it's unusual, the origin of the noise. And there's prohibited hours for any of this loud noise that is spelled out in the ordinance. And on weekdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. or to 10 p.m. you're allowed to make noise to a certain decibel level. From 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. on the other side of it through the night, you cannot make this noise. And that's for weekdays. On weekends, it just switches 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. So between 7 and 11, you're allowed to make specific noise, loud noise to a certain decibel level. From 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., you are not. And those are the prohibited hours. So during the prohibited hours, vehicle radio sound amps cannot be heard for more than 10 feet. Noise-making devices are prohibited, horns, bells, etc. Shouting or yelling is also included in there. And if this violation is seen or observed, a non-criminal citation can be issued to enforce it, or we can also do a long-form complaint. So inside bars, inside establishments, this loud unnecessary noise violation applies. The downtown business district is kind of a special district. In our city, we have residential, we have industrial, and then we have downtown, which is a mixed zoning use, and it isn't considered residential. So if a possible violation is observed from the interior of a business, a sound meter may be used, and we do have sound meters at our agency that we will use from time to time if need. But it's not necessary if it's an egregious violation. So this is something that any reasonable person would say, man, this is really, really loud. We can say, yes, that's a violation. Now what we normally would do is let's go get the decibel meter. Let's see exactly what the decibels are, because then it will only make that violation easier to enforce. But it's not necessary to have that decibel meter if it's not available. And what we often do on these, what we've done with these over the years, is we prefer to work with the businesses downtown. Let's say there's a bar generating a lot of noise. We prefer to go in there, visit with them, provide education, work with them on how can we make this less loud. Oftentimes we'll have a bar that's creating noise, and then we'll have a person in an apartment next door that's saying, it's 12 o'clock at night, it's loud, I can't sleep, what can we do? And we'll try to work that out without taking any enforcement at all, because ultimately that's what we want, is everybody to be happy, and we want downtown to be a vibrant, fun place to go. And so this is what we've historically done and what we continue to do. This is a a chart of our allowed noise or our decibels which are allowed. When you look at this is one of the things I point out, and I say, okay, this could stand some room for change, because between the loud hours at 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., and if you'll see under the first column where that DMU, that's that downtown multi-use area or mixed area, 55 decibels is as loud as you can go. Well, I'm probably creating 55. I see Chris has his meter out right now. I'm probably creating 55 decibels right now, 75. So it's something that needs to be looked at. Completely agreed by those that are bringing question to this. And that's why we have the city attorney looking at this ordinance and looking at these things. I mean, as you can see, industrial, commercial is 65, industrial is 80. So just wanted to put that up there. 55 is right now the enforceable decibel. Now, this is one of the many reasons why we want to work with our businesses, and so we say, okay, 55 is probably low for just amplified speech on a microphone inside. I mean, it could be a little bit higher. And so we want to work with people when they go above that level to say, hey, can we bring it down a little bit more? Let's be reasonable here. And so that's what we've done for many years and continue to do. Amplified sound permits. Now, this is a permit that people apply for, and by ordinance, that application is through the police department. And there are different parameters set for different areas of town on these amplified sound permits. And it's something that someone who wants to play a guitar amplified at a backyard party, or someone who wants to have a band outside of their bar, or have some type of a festival or whatever it might be, can apply for, and amplified sound is then allowed in those specific time frames. So 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. on weekdays, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. on weekends, Friday night, Saturday night. It's covered in 11-0209, and it's spelled out very clearly in ordinance that if you're going to have amplified sound, you need to have one of these. Now, historically, this has been used for concerts, music, and gatherings. And that is what we have issued permits for. To apply, we've put the link in this. It's fargond.gov/amplified sound permit. It's a $30 application fee, and you need to bring it to the police department, turn it in, and then we will look at it and take a lot of things into consideration, such as residential areas. You can't put one of these within 500 feet or in a residential area during specific times, and there's a lot of different ways that this ordinance goes. And so, but if you want to do amplified sound, you apply with this permit through the police department. And the permit is then authorized for a specific period of time, and you can create amplified sound between 7 and 11 on weekends and 6 and 10 on weekdays. That is it. There's no amplified sound allowed between that no loud sound time frame, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. and 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. And so that is amplified sound. So what we've been having is, this has been challenged. It's been challenged by some of our street performers in the downtown area, and it's forcing us to look at this ordinance, which is a good thing. We also, from the podium, I'll say it, we want downtown to be a vibrant, fun place. We want there to be street performers. We want there to be people that bring their talents, their abilities into the downtown area. It's what makes it really cool. We really appreciate that and want that to continue happening. But we have to abide by rules set in place. And the rules that are set in place are in our city ordinance, and we are the people, the police department, that are there to enforce those rules. And so what has been allowed, what's being challenged is, hey, there's multiple businesses with patio speakers that are amplified sound, and they're still being allowed to play their music. That should be amplified sound. This is something that's been allowed for years. Historically, we have just enforced amplified music, amplified gatherings, amplified voices. So we're going to continue to do that in that way through this period where our city attorney is looking at the ordinance. And so our plan, and what I'm telling our downtown officers working downtown to do, is, I have to go back. So here's our plan. Businesses. We're going to be going around to the different bars and businesses that have patios, and we're going to say, you still can have your music on. It has to be within that 55 decibels. So it's going to be very light music outside, and it has to be within the time frame set, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. weekdays, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. weekends. Then after those time frames, you have to have your music turned off if it's outside. Street performers, not allowed to play amplified sound, and no permits will be approved for amplified sound until our city attorney completes their review. Now, I know that planning, who issues street performance permits, has been writing on the permit, you can use amplified sound. This is an administrative oversight that we're going to be working with planning on, because it's clearly spelled out in city ordinance that amplified sound is approved by the police department. And so literally after this meeting, I'm going to be walking up to planning and talking to them about that and seeing what we can do to work through that. But for now, just so everybody's clear, street performers will not be allowed to use amplified sound until we have this review and the city attorney gives their opinion. Educational approach is going to be used. With some of our street performers, we've been doing this educational approach for the last 2-3 weeks. With others who are starting to have questions, we will start that educational approach. But we want to make sure that everybody understands the rules. We want to work with people, and we want to make sure that nothing unfair is being done here at our level or from the enforcement side. And so we're going to continue to do that. Any wanted changes can be addressed at commission, can be addressed with, well, our city attorney is looking at them, but commission is a place where we change ordinances and where we make changes to those ordinances. And so we are here to enforce them. If we feel that there is something wrong, you can always, as a member of the public, as a citizen, go to commission and say, this is what I think is wrong, and I think this should be changed. And you'll notice on the street performer section, nowhere did I say street performers cannot perform. They just can't perform amplified. It has to be acoustic. It has to be without amplification. And the leeway given here a little bit is we understand 55 decibels is very light. All right, we're not going to be going out running decibel meters on everybody playing an acoustic guitar or a saxophone like we had last night or anything like that, unless there's some type of complaint about that. It's 2 in the morning and I can't sleep. It's 2 in the morning and people are checking out of hotels because it's been too loud from street performers downtown with amplified sound. These are the types of things that will garner attention and that we need to take enforcement on. So that is the way that we're going to run this from an enforcement side until we get an opinion from our city attorney on how to move forward with this. He's told us that by the end of June, he should have that opinion. I'm going to talk to them and say, hey, can we move this on a little bit more? Because I know that we're affecting some people's income and how they make a living, and we're also affecting downtown, and we want everybody to be happy. And so we're going to try to get this done as quickly as possible, but it's going to take some time. Government doesn't happen quickly. It always takes more time than what we'd like. So that is the plan for now. I'm saying it publicly so everybody understands. And we will continue to work with people, but when it comes to enforcement of amplified sound, once there's been education, there will be enforcement if there is a violation. And so I want to make that perfectly clear on that side. Very good. Now it's time for questions, if anybody has them. We have some quick takers here. We'll be using the speaking blocks, Chris, if you don't mind. They don't have the microphones turned on up here. And I'll remind you, there's a 2-minute and 30-second time limit on your statement, and then if we want to have discussion afterwards, we can.
Okay, I guess regarding your 11-0209.
I'm sorry?
Regarding your 11-0209
Yeah.
amplified sound, I guess I'd say regardless of its history that you've used in the past, it's a clear violation of constitutional rights, First and 14th Amendment, if and when you're going to apply it to a street performance. The street performance can meet your 11-0204 with your decibels, keep it under your noise ordinance violations, but multiple cases have cited that cities tried to do this in the past and they've lost. I have them here. I'm ready for the city attorney to review them as well. I haven't had a chance to speak with them. They don't call me back. It's kind of a one-sided situation there. But I got plenty of court cases I could explain to you even right now if we had enough time. But maybe it's more appropriate to speak with the city attorney at this point.
I would say that would be a good venue to go, is have your concerns speak with the city attorney and go through
But I
commission.
do warn you, as you provide me this education and the public this education, that you may need some yourself if you're not aware of these cases involving buskers and street performers and other cities in the past. I don't want to know what the city of Fargo is going to choose to do if they're going to choose to do what these cities did. I don't want them to lose this. You know, the ACLU of Michigan did a case, I think it was in 2010, they won. And they made them change their code, and the guys that got arrested, you know, won. They beat the city because of the violation of First Amendment rights. And there's case after case after case after case. If you guys aren't aware of these, I need you to be made aware, you know.
Well, Chris, I'd be more than willing to look at those after this meeting. You can give them to me, we'll look at them, and then we should take them to the city attorney also.
And now you said also you're not going to issue any permits for amplified sound. When did you start this?
We're not going to be issuing permits for amplified sound downtown for street performances. We've never issued a street performer amplified sound
Okay,
permit from what I
so
can
you're only...
what I can understand. And so we're waiting to see what our city attorney says on this in their opinion. I would not want to say, here you go, guys, and then 2 weeks later, pull it away from you. That's
Right.
what I'm trying to avoid here.
Right, so, well, you said that you're not issuing any amplified sound permits. Is it only related to street performers at this point? But
To street performers in the downtown area, yes.
But you will, you know, give them to, let's say, Anna with Fargo Parks District for their operations. You'll do this meanwhile while you're waiting for the city attorney?
The ordinance spells out a little bit of a difference in what we do with amplified sound with our city parks. So we're
Okay.
talking about downtown street performance.
You say that this has been allowed for years, and this is historically, you've told me, when it comes to these speakers, these amplified speakers downtown. That's amplified sound. I don't know any other way to describe it. Well, this street performer has also been working for years doing this. 3 years he's been doing this. So historically, he's been doing the same thing as well. And it seems like you're signaling out, you know, this one individual. But I just want to make it clear that you're only going to tell the street performers and not any of these patios that they need to shut their music off. That's clear, right?
What we're telling the street performers right now is that they can continue with acoustic performance until 10 o'clock, because on their street performer permit, they're done performing at 10 o'clock. And loud sounds can be generated weekdays, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., weekends, 7 to 11, unless you're operating under that street performer permit, then it's done at 10. And so what we're saying is you can perform acoustically. We're not taking that ability away from you. What we are doing is making sure that everybody in the downtown area can experience a good time and also not have to listen to loud amplified sound when they're trying to sleep in their hotel room, their condo, or their apartment. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to keep everybody happier, which is what laws and rules are all about.
Okay, I had a conversation with Anderson, and what was the partner's name? I don't remember. I asked him, I had my decibel meter ready. I said, hey, these guys are exceeding your decibels. I think we should go down and talk to them. You know, Bar Gold down there, whoever it was at the time. He told me, and maybe he can help me out here. He told me that he's not enforcing 11-0204 until this is finished with the city attorney.
We will be enforcing 11-02-04 when we find an egregious violation, or when we find a violation of that ordinance. What you're talking about is what you have been doing is calling in multiple bars that have patios with speakers, and we're not getting complaints on those other than from you, and we're not getting it's not an egregious violation. And so until we get this figured out, we are not going to be taking enforcement on normal volumed speakers on the patio.
Thank you for the time, Lieutenant.
Yep, I appreciate it, Chris.
Lieutenant, do complaints from businesses trump complaints from citizens?
Not at all. We take each complaint as they come from everybody equally.
But you just said that you're not looking into his complaints, but you are looking into the complaints of businesses?
We have looked at his complaints, and what we're seeing is that there was a complaint by business and other residential people living in residences downtown that there was being loud noise generated well after 10 or 11 o'clock that was amplified. That was a complaint that we received at this last meeting and after that last meeting.
I think the proper function that is supposed to happen as far as the downtown street performers is that if there is a complaint, it's lodged with the planning department. And then the planning department, which I asked them if they'd come down here, but they weren't able to, I guess, today. If there's a complaint lodged with them, then it's on them to talk to the street performer.
Okay.
No such complaints have been lodged. There's no history of any complaints. I guess when you're dealing with the difference between a complaint and a compliment, there's been thousands of compliments, tens of thousands of compliments in the last 3 years. The number of complaints, according to the planning department, 0. According to you guys, there's been times where I've been playing music out on the street, people streaming by with compliments, and then the cops will show up and say that they have, somebody complained about the music. And, I'll ask who it was that complained, just because, I would prefer that if someone had a complaint, they'd come in and talk to me personally. I would be happy to turn the music down or, facilitate any way I could. I guess it's just interesting that 5 cops show up, pull up on the sidewalk. I think there's a little bit of intimidation going on. I know that I perform with a young Native American guy, and I know there's a Native American population downtown in the city that enjoys listening to the music. And I know that might not be business friendly. And I know that I guess I just want to say that I don't think that truth is the opinion of the powerful. And I think the law should be applied equally.
Okay. When people call in complaints, they usually call them to the police department when it's loud noise. That's probably why planning hasn't been receiving those. All the other statements you have, we're enforcing violations. You've been told multiple times what we're asking, and when they go there to talk to you.
How many times do you think I've been talked to by the police in the last 3 years? Give me a rough number, just guess.
I don't know. I haven't looked at that.
I've been not able to play for the last month. Every time I try to play, the cops show up, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them, pull up on the sidewalk, make a big scene, make me look like a criminal. I don't know, it seems like harassment. I guess I've had issues with the police in the past. I don't know if these issues stem from those previous issues. It seems like they all know me. It seems like...
Okay, so if there's compliance with this amplified sound, there's not going to be an issue. And so what we'll be doing is we're going to be working with planning. We're going to be working with the city attorney. And we're going to be communicating with both of you. I'll meet with you after this meeting. I'll see the Supreme Court rulings that you have. I'll even look at them. And we're going to try to work together on this. But what we really need to make sure that we stop doing is calling in every place that has a speaker, because it's taking officers off the street to deal with that. We're working on it. We're trying to get it figured out.
I think the officers are also being taken off the street to deal with...
I'm just going to ask you to give us
I've been contacted hundreds of times. And usually the cops, when they come up, they just say, hey, sounds good. You guys aren't even that loud. Go ahead, keep going.
That's good. We want people to perform that are compliant with our city ordinances, and you can perform.
If you're going to tell me not to call, then you better tell everybody else that's calling on him not to call. I will continue to call if I have to. I'm going to make my point.
I guess my other question, or my final question would be, does the city have the right to pass ordinances?
You had your 2 minutes and 30 seconds, Patrick. We'll talk after this,
Oh,
all
yeah,
right? All right. Does anybody else have any questions about any of the other stuff? The substation, the parking ordinance, some of the follow-up that we did in the beginning, maybe something that we talked about with the noise violation. Does anybody have the whole rest of the presentation? Does anybody have any questions about that?
Would anyone from the Jasper Hotel like to comment?
Again, your comment, 2 minutes and 30 seconds was up, Patrick. We'll talk afterwards. Yes, ma'am. Can we get this lady a microphone?
This is my first downtown download meeting, so I'm sure this has already been covered, but is there a police liaison for any of the businesses on Main Avenue?
I would be the person that you could liaison with, and so I'll make sure you get my contact information when we're done here.
Sorry, my question wasn't very exciting.
No, that's all right. Anybody else? Well, we have a lot of people in here that we work with in partnership every single day in our downtown area, from homeless health to parking to downtown community partnership, Kilbourne. Appreciate you all being here today. We'll be back next month with, if you have any questions on this that you didn't want to ask in public, feel free to come up and ask me in private, send me an email. We can do some follow-up next month on our next download. So everybody have a great day. Thank you.